Example to make you understand where Kubernetes you need to use. So first of all, clarity you need to have, guys. Kubernetes is not used in small projects. Okay, that first clarity you need to have. Kubernetes is a bigger picture, and the basis for itself should be itself is a bigger. Okay, that means the criteria or whatever we think. So if it is a bigger project, a lot of activities are happening, then that is where we prefer to use the Kubernetes. If it is very small projects, not required. So to make you understand where the Kubernetes is required, I'll give an example. So let's say this guy is a human being. Okay, one guy. And likewise, in a project, okay, you have containers of, let's say, 1,000 containers out there. If this is a case, each person can handle, let's say, around, to my knowledge, not more than 300 containers. So I'll put it as, let's take for granted 200. If it is experienced people, let's add 100 more, but on an average 200 containers per day. So if the project operates in and out, that means creation and deletion set count per day, it is around 1,000 containers. Now you tell me, guys, if a person can handle 200 containers per day, how many technicians are required here? Calculate and tell me. 5. Okay, you agreed that it is 5. Can I manage with 3 people? Is that possible? Even if you overload, or let's assume I've just told you the average that 200 containers can be managed by person. So if that is the case, technically ideal solution is like 5 people you require, but still you can get it done by 3 people. Okay, this is one calculation, nice calculation. Let's see one more use case. So containers, let's say there are 10,000 containers, is business has increased. So now the transaction became 10,000 containers per day. That means applications are getting created, 10,000 accounts, a lot of transactions happening, right? So let's say, an example, each person can handle up to 200. Now, how many technicians are required? How many guys? 50. Now, can we manage this by, let's say, 1/3 of this? Can we manage around with 25 people? The answer is positive. So just see the difference. Okay. Yes, you have to understand the logic. So when the things are growing fast for a company like a, let's take it for granted, like a Snapdeal, or let's say Facebook, because Facebook also operates on Dockers, Twitter, or any other retail website that you take. So initially, the headcount of the applications or the logged in users headcount will be small, but as the days goes on, they will definitely have huge number of customers, or let's say logged in customers will be heavy. That means scaling is happening. So likewise, they also need to increase their staff, or you can say the technology or technicians who manage these containers. So in day on day, if you keep on, you will not believe, on an average, Facebook and this AWS, whatever you see that site, retail site, where you buy all the things now, on an average, some hundreds of containers get created and destroyed every day. Hundreds. So if you talk about Facebook, that is lakhs only. So in that such use case, guys, do you think really possible to keep on hiring the people when there is no demand, keep on removing the people? Do you think really it is possible? So definitely when your customer base is increasing, definitely you have to increase your workforce who can manage your containers. So that is where this concept has come in. Okay. So to overcome this headaches, a concept has evolved in IT. We call it as container orchestration. Another example I'll give you to make you understand. So let's say, let's take it at family level. So your parents, definitely I would say the parents who cook the food or you guys cook the food, that's okay. But the point is, let's say you got 4 to 5 friends to the home. Can you manage their, what you can say, lunch and dinner? Yeah, you can. The answer is yes. Even up to the 10 people, can we manage? What do you say, guys? If it is 10 people are coming, we can try. But definitely, if it is 50 people, what do you do? Definitely, though we are capable, but we start thinking about something. What is that something? That is something, nothing but your hotel or food orders, or you will think about what is that we'll give now? Catering, yes. Catering. So this is what we think. The same example. So let's say 1,000 people let's coming for an event. Will you give for catering or will you hire a candidate to cook a food? What is the right choice, guys, in there? See, we apply the economics of life. Hiring is a good option or catering is a good option? Economics of life, you need to apply there. Logic. So generally, for 1,000 people, catering will cost very heavy. Hiring a person and getting your food cooked is a right choice there. For a smaller amount, we go for catering. Very small, we can manage it at home. See the comparison. When the number is increasing, the choices are varying. Likewise, here also, when the number of containers is increasing, we start thinking about choices. So that choice is nothing but container orchestration tools. So container orchestration tools are capable of managing hundreds of containers in a form of cluster. So that is the role of your container orchestration tools, COT, short format. So the exact role of container orchestration tools is it is capable of managing hundreds of containers in the form of a cluster. Right? In the form of a cluster. I hope you know the meaning of a cluster, guys, correct? How many of you don't know what is a cluster? Cluster. Best example of your life is the colony. Colony is a cluster only. So let's say we say it's a colony, right? Colony is nothing but cluster. Human settlements in the form of a clusters. Okay, so hundreds of containers in the form of a cluster. Cluster is a set of groups forming a bigger one. So that is a cluster. Okay. So container orchestration tools, we have a lot in the market. Something like Kubernetes, we have Mesos, and you have Docker Swarm. So Docker Swarm, once upon a king in the market, till Docker came. So you can say he's an old hero. Currently he's a old hero. A new hero is Kubernetes. Tomorrow somebody else will come. So that's common. So Docker Swarm, right from 2013 to the 2018, it was king in the market. Everybody ran behind Docker Swarm. Today the people are running behind the Kubernetes. So Kubernetes was released into the market in 17, and it has been almost, you can say, 5 or 6 years. See, one lucky joke is people keep 8 years or 10 years experience in Kubernetes. I don't know from where they get them. If the product itself is developed in 17, released into the market in 17, how come they start working on Kubernetes, guys? Tell me. Is it possible? Now, one more nice joke which I see in my life when I'm taking interviews. So one guy came for chef interview and he kept almost 12 years experience. I did not talk anything because chef came in which year, guys? Chef came in 2013. That's it. I didn't ask any question, right? So that is how things happen. So when you're putting in the resume also, you should be careful with the tools also, guys. So if you're trying to show the experience beyond their birth, then that is very dangerous thing. Am I right? Do you agree, guys? So yeah, so don't try to show the experience beyond their birth. So Docker Swarm, or let's say Docker Swarm is almost there from almost, you can say 10 years. Okay, right? You can claim 8-9 years in Docker Swarm. That makes sense. But in Kubernetes, if you're claiming 8 to 10, that doesn't work. Okay. So Kubernetes came into the market in 17, released by the Google. So Google was the company which brought up this into the market. And frankly, this was started developing way back in 2011 only. So since 2011 to 2015 roughly, they used internally in the Google company, and they later decided that they want to make this product into the market. They collaborated with a lot of third party and open source foundation, we call it as third party group. And this currently third party group is managing your Kubernetes. But in this entire group, Google is a major stakeholder. So officially it is Google only. But however, from 15 to 17, lot of hands were there, or you can say third persons are involved in developing this. So it was brought up into the market in 17. Are we clear on this point, guys? Please confirm. Okay. Now you need to know what exactly this orchestration tools come. First of all, the meaning of orchestration means adjusting. Orchestration means adjust. English meaning of orchestration itself is adjust. Whatever current things you can have, you can adjust, like tuning. Like radio, you tune it right according to the radio station, like tune. So what these guys can tune? So they can tune the containers to scale up on demand. Whenever you require more containers, they would create. When there is no demand, it can scale down, they can delete. So tuning either up or it down. Okay. Then next, you can push the updates to all the containers in a single go. And you can stop all the containers in a single go. You can smash them, you can create them, you can talk to them, you can check the logs. So something doing the activities in bulk. So that is a role of your Kubernetes. So that is the reason very first point I told you. So Kubernetes is not a childish game at all. It is definitely used in big projects. So when a company itself has, let's say their business is hardly 200 or 300 containers per day, 200 or 300 containers getting created on an average every month transaction, or average, if it is revolving around 300. Now, do you think the company focuses on Kubernetes? Is that required for them? Tell me, guys, is that required for them, first of all? Not required. So that is an assumption. That is what the standards according. But if you see the customer base for Kubernetes is retail community, banking, finance, wherever you have huge social media, right? Wherever there is a huge use case of application dependencies getting created, smashed every day, that is where containers orchestration tools are required. So that's the role of Kubernetes, guys. First, then now jump into the technical details. Okay, so let's see the first point. So Kubernetes comes under the category of orchestration tool segment. And all the orchestration tool segment capable of managing the containers in the form of clusters. And popular tools I already told you, Docker Swarm, Kubernetes, and Mesos. So Docker Swarm belongs to the Docker company, Kubernetes belongs to the Google, and Mesos belongs to the very famous brand Apache Foundations. Okay. So we don't know, maybe 2 or 3 years from now, people may run behind Mesos, guys. Okay. The reason is people are feeling little complexity with the Kubernetes at this point. So that's a market new trend analysis I'm talking. People have started looking little alternate choices. So we don't know what happens in future, but that is the current analysis. And interestingly, the Kubernetes is the world's largest IT open source project. Kubernetes holds the Guinness Book of World Records for hosting world's largest IT open source project is not licensed. Kubernetes technology itself is open source. Okay. Now, what are the use cases of orchestration? As I told you, it is capable of talking to hundreds of containers in a single go, whether to start, stop, restart, delete, etc. Now, what are Kubernetes features? This is capable of working on premises and also capable on working on public cloud like AWS, GCP, and Azure. Now, one GK question, guys. Among the clouds, we have a lot of clouds in the market, like right from Oracle, IBM, AWS, Azure, GCP. So which of the following is the best known for Kubernetes, guys? What is your opinion? The best friend for the Kubernetes is GCP only. Reason? Because it's what you can say. What is the crazy name, guys, in the life? Because that's its birthplace. That is the reason. So we have to talk in that style only. So it's not about the location there. The reason is GCP is a native of Google. So Google product is GCP and Kubernetes product is also GCP. Correct? Google has come, this Kubernetes has come from Google. So GCP is also from Google. So technically, complexity wise, flexibility wise, compatibility wise, okay, considering all the things into the weightage, GCP is considered as best hosting for Kubernetes. Clear? You just do the comparison of data analysis in the market. They'll tell you that most of the data is revolving around GCP for Kubernetes. So that is what you need to know. And it is the cheapest also. It is more cheaper than AWS also. So hosting Kubernetes is much cheaper in GCP than hosting the Kubernetes in AWS. Okay, the next point is highly modular. So what is the modular concept here? So modular is a word you should apply wherever you can change the configurations up to any extent. So it means that you can customize as per your will and wish. That is the meaning of highly modular. So whenever somebody says it's a highly modular, means it's flexible. You can customize up to any extent of your demo on any platform. And it has got great community support. And currently Kubernetes is this is one drawback is technically this is the biggest drawback of Kubernetes currently. If somebody asks what is the biggest flop story of the Kubernetes is dependency. Kubernetes does not have its own container engine. It is still dependent upon some other's engine. It does not have its own engine like container engines. So Kubernetes currently is dependent on its favorite engine is Docker. And interestingly, Kubernetes is working from a couple of years to bring its own engine. They disclosed that they want to bring up their own engine last year, but no update so far. So we don't know what happened, what went wrong. But as on today, it is still dependent on third-party engines, and default engine is Docker. So what does it mean? When you install the Kubernetes, whether you like it or you don't like, Docker gets installed because it works upon the Docker. That is the reason people recommend you to learn the Docker first before jumping onto the Kubernetes. Are we clear why we want to learn the Docker first? Okay. So Kubernetes is not independent as on today. It is dependent on its favorite engine, Docker. So that other engines also it cooperate, that is Creo and Rocket. These are other alternative brands of engines which can give a tough competition to the Docker also. Okay. Now, Kubernetes will work on both Windows, Mac, and Linux. So as we already know, Kubernetes, Docker is 99%, as I already told you in other class. Docker 99% is Linux. And Kubernetes, you can take it for granted, 99.9% is on Linux. Okay. Even in the market, Kubernetes is almost 99.9% is hosted on Linux platform. So that is the reason now when you see any job opening on Docker and Kubernetes, they don't care about your Windows skill set. They don't bother. Okay. They bother about your Linux stuff, because anything that you want to manhandle the Kubernetes or you want manhandle Docker, technically you need to have little good knowledge with the Linux. So Linux makes a great importance when you want to make career in Docker and Kubernetes. Are we clear? Understood why the Linux classes are important for you? It may not be important, makes sense for, let's say, Jenkins or Git, but Linux makes a great sense if you want to make good choice or career options in Docker and Kubernetes. Okay, so that's the reason, please don't miss your classes. I think yesterday Linux classes started, right, at 6 p.m. guys? Are you aware? Yes or no? By the way, how many of you have not done your Linux classes? Please raise your hands. How many of you have not done Linux classes? Only one I see, Kavya. How about others? So please take advantage. Evening around 6 o'clock, Naresh IT is providing you the free Linux classes. Those have already done registrations for DevOps or AWS. So please enroll the Linux classes free of cost. Take advantage. Clear? Almost they'll give 40 days of very good knowledge on Linux. Please attend those classes who require Linux. The next, Kubernetes operates in the form of client and server technology methodology, and it follows two-tier architecture system. Two-tier architecture system means we'll have a dedicated server and we'll have some dedicated clients. That means like boss and chain relationship. Like Ansible. Ansible is also a two-tier architecture system only, what you guys learned in Ansible. So we have a dedicated server, we can create a number of clients. So that is two-tier architecture. Likewise, this is also two-tier architecture. Now, we have some important terminologies in the Kubernetes. So these are few terminologies. Okay, so what are those? Generally, server is referred as master node. We call that as master node. Some people also call it as server node. So two crazy names are there. So we can be aware. The next one is clients are called as minions, guys. Minions. This is very important name, minions. Clients are referred as minions. These are also referred as worker missions. So worker mission or minions is what the name that you give it to the clients here. Got it? The next, let's bother about installation of the Kubernetes. Okay. So if you're planning to install a Kubernetes on your computer, first of all, Kubernetes is enterprise or open source, guys? Any guess? I think I already told you a few minutes ago. So Kubernetes, is it free or you have to pay for it? It's a free only, open source, okay? Yeah, so it's a free. Now let's bother about installation stuff. So Kubernetes can be done in two ways, okay? So one is single node cluster and multi-node cluster. There are two ways to install. Got it? So single node cluster setup you have to use for our lab practice. If you want to practice the Kubernetes, we have to use single node cluster methodology. But in a real time, if you want to set up, then you require multi-node cluster setup because the requirements are heavy. Got it? So let's say the requirements. If you're just bothering about the, let's say the single node, you see the requirements, this table. Just see this table, guys. How many machines are required in the single node cluster? We require one machine. Okay. How much RAM is required? Minimum 4 GB. How much hard disk space is required? 20 GB. And VM box is required. And single node cluster setup is classified as non-production grade. That means they don't use this methodology in a real time, but this is a methodology that you have to use it for your practice with the Kubernetes. Okay. And interestingly, these two types of methodologies are given by Kubernetes only. The people who want to practice Kubernetes, please use single node. And if you want to use a Kubernetes in the real time, please use multi-node. That is what they told. Now, why the multi-node is not possible by us? Because this complex requirements. You can see minimum you require one server and you require minimum 3 client machines. And server should have 4 GB and each client should have 2 GB of RAM. And each client should have at least of 50 GB of hard disk and server should have at least 200 GB of hard disk. And VM box is not required for it, as we already know, and the grade is production grade. Are we clear? Now, do you think that's really possible on our computers, guys, this kind of setup? You can think, calculate and tell me how much if you want to do it that. 4 plus 2 into 3, how much? 2 into 3. 6. 6 plus 4. So that means unless you have 16 GB laptop, you can't even imagine about multi-node cluster. Got it? And the requirements are very heavy. So that's the reason it is production grade and this. So we'll go ahead and set up the single node cluster for our lab practice. Now, single node cluster, what is this use? So it is nothing but we'll create a machine. That machine, upon that we'll install the Kubernetes. The same machine will behave as a server and the same machine will behave as a client. So what is that movie called? Ramu and what is that movie, guys? Ramu and Remo. Did you guys saw that movie? No. I'm talking about a movie called, I think Ramu and Remo. What is that movie name, guys? I don't remember. Actor Vikram's movie. Aparchit, I guess. Aparchitru, yes. So how many of you guys have saw Aparchitru? Aparchitru movies you saw? Okay, nice. Then we are going to set up now Aparchitru only. Same machine will behave as a server. Same machine will behave as client. Okay. That is the role of what they done. So we are going to set up a single node cluster. So this is an official site where you have to go and do and download. So copy this and go to the official site. I want you to write the steps, guys, because These Kubernetes guys keep on updating their website. Again, they came up with what is the new notice. The registry will be frozen from 3rd April 2003. Why? Images for Kubernetes will not be available in the registry. They are giving some notice. So let's see what happens. Okay. So that's on 8th April now. I'll take care. Now, once you open this site, you have to open up something called documentation. Okay, please write the navigation steps, guys. Live, please write it because steps will vary even after 10 days also. So go into the documentation and left-hand side, you should see something called, what is this? Hold on, tasks. Okay. Left-hand side, you will see a task. Under the task, you should see an option that says install tools. Click on it. This will open up this page. So this is the page where you need to keep it as a base. Okay, because whatever you're planning to install, everything is available in this page only. Install tools. I tell you the navigation, go to the documentation, then go to the task, left-hand side, click on install tools. That's it. Now this is a place where you're going to install. See, they have given 2 copies for us. One is called Kind. Please pronounce it as Kind only, guys. Don't call it as kind. English meaning is kind, but according to the Kubernetes, guys, you need to call this as Kind. Okay. And another one is Minikube. So you can choose any one. So what happens when you get this installed? So simple story, whether you try the Minikube or whether you try the Kind, which you are going to install on your machine now. Okay. So once you install, what happens is, this is going to install. Let's say it will install. That is nice. Only after installation, you have to fire a command. We'll fire a command. I'll show you. So once you fire a command, what does it does is, it starts looking for some VM box on your computer, virtual machine software on your computer. Okay. That is a pre-requirement, guys. If you want to install Minikube or Kind, you need to have a VM software on your machine. First of all, VM software you should have, and your CPU should be dual core. Already everybody is using dual core, so we are not worried. So we already have VMware also, VM software also. And in the boot, virtualization should be enabled. Everything is perfect for us because we are already using VM box now, so we are not worried. So this is a minimum. We'll assume that all are in place. If all are in place, then once we install this Kind or a Minikube, then once we fire a command after the installation, it will start looking on your computer some VM software, whatever it is installed. And upon that VM, let's say I'm using Oracle VM box, just an example. Upon this Oracle VM box, it is going to set up a Linux image. Automatically it does it, guys. No need to do anything. It will automatically identify what is the VM that you install on your machine. Upon that VM software, it will try to install the Linux machine, Linux image. And this Linux image will carry the Docker, will carry the Kubernetes, and will create a cluster and make it ready for you. You understood? So it is something like, instead of making every arrangement, we just make an order, like cooking biryani. So instead of cooking biryani, we just order it, everything is ready. So here also, you just install this Minikube, that's it. And you just fire the command, it takes care of right from here. And it takes around 15 to 20 minutes of time to get this done. So it will set up the image, it will automatically install the Docker. Upon that Kubernetes, upon that it will create a cluster, and then it finally will tell you that everything is ready. Shall we proceed, guys? This is a broad understanding of how we. Okay. Now, interesting point. So we came to know that Kubernetes has given you the 2 softwares. You can try Kind or you can try Minikube. Okay, which will help you to set up the Kubernetes cluster that we know now. Now, to interact with a Kubernetes cluster, that is interesting. See, to interact with that cluster, Kubernetes has given you, like, Kubernetes has given you two CLIs. It's up to you what you use. Two CLIs they have given, or two kinds of tools you can say, apps they have given. So the first CLI, we call it as kubectl. Full form is kubectl or kubectl. People also call it as ctl. That's a short format. So this is a CLI utility which will help you to interact with the cluster operations. Okay, kubectl. But kubectl is not capable of creating the cluster nor destroying a cluster. See the interesting point. Kubectl helps you to interact with the cluster. So, like there is a famous saying from Einstein, mass cannot be created. Did you heard this? Guys, tell me, did you heard this famous statement from Einstein? Mass cannot be created or destroyed. Is that correct, guys? I don't know. I studied in the childhood. Likewise. So using kubectl, you cannot create a cluster nor you can destroy. But once the cluster is ready, you can interact with it. Like you can start a containers. Okay. You can stop a containers. You can update the containers. You can log into the containers. A lot of activities. So I'm talking about the operations. Okay. Second one is another CLI they have given called KubeADM. Okay, another tool they have given called KubeADM. So if you install this tool on your machine now, it helps you to interact with your cluster and is literally capable of doing all. You can do anything, right from operations, creation, deletion, clusters. So that is what ADM is capable. So generally these ADM tools are used by the Kubernetes administrators. And these kubectl tools are generally used by the DevOps engineers and any other users who want to interact with the Kubernetes or even developers who want to interact. So if I talk more straight, a person who is in the administrator role, he needs to have KubeADM tool to manage the cluster operations in administrator style. And a person who is non-admin role and he wants to interact with a cluster like creating the applications, deploying the applications, okay, modifying the applications, stopping the applications, and starting the applications, kubectl is more than sufficient. Are we clear? So DevOps engineers more interact with kubectl, guys. Unless you're going with an admin role, then it's KubeADM. Clear? Divya, Kavya, Kirti, Shravya, Mayuri, Maunika, Nagireddy, Rajat, Pavan, Bhagat. So you need to know the small differences, guys, because people keep on talking about what is ctl, what is ADM. So, okay, now keeping this data into the brain, let's proceed with installation. What we should do, guys? So you have two choices, Kind or a Minikube. I recommend you guys to go with Minikube. The only reason is this is the oldest one. First of all, this is the one of the earliest one. And if you get any issues in the Minikube, at least you will have some online documents to search and find the solutions. Answers you will find. But Kind is the latest one, just 3 years ago it came. So not much solutions are available on internet if you get any phase or let's say any issues in the Kind. So everything is on your adventure only. You have to innovative, find the solutions. So personally, mostly people practice with Minikube only. So let's also go in their fashion, Minikube. So click on the get started. And this is what all biodata they have given. This is what you require. 2 CPUs, 2 GB memory. They say 2, but it will consume 4. Just let's see. For 20 GB hard disk, internet connection, at least one of them. So in this list, we already have this one. This one we already have. Oracle Winbox. All these details, we are eligible. Okay. Now let's proceed with installation. And this is where students are making mistakes. So just observe. Make sure that don't change anything, not required to change anything. It's currently pointing to Windows. It's currently this. This is currently stable. I want .exe. So nothing to change there. Just you need to come here and click on this link. That's it. You click on this download and run latest installer. Click on this. It will start the download process, guys. Okay. So the point is, so once the download is finished, so what is our duty once the download is finished? So we have to right click and proceed with installation. That is what you need to do. Install. Now, while installation, guys, it's all about like you have to just proceed with installation. Just click on next, 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 finish. Nothing, no challenges there. Next, 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 finish. That is what you guys have to do. I already have on my computer, so I'm not adventuring on installation. But once you start the installation, it's all about like next, 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 finish. Got it? So once it is done, I recommend you to restart the computer, guys. That is a step recommended because once it restarts, that software will start read your CPU details, will start read your VM details, which are required. Okay. So let it read upon reboot. So once that is reading, okay. So next, 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 finish. So restart the computer, CPU, VM. Then you will see that you will have, once the machine is up, I recommend you to go to the program files and check, guys. First of all, open your C drive and check whether it's there or gone. So go to Windows. Under, I guess, program files, I need to see. I think not here. Yeah, program files, sorry. C drive, go into the program files. And here you need to see a Kubernetes. Okay, that's what you need to. So go into the program files and see the Kubernetes folder. Open that and check, guys. Minikube is there. So once you see the Minikube here, that means everything is good. The next step. So this step is done. Then you need to go back to the same old stuff. And now we have a choice whether you want to go with the CUTL or you want to go with ADM. Since we are not planning to learn any administration course here, so keep in mind, guys, Kubernetes is very vast subject. Kubernetes development course is there, dev course is there, Kubernetes administration course is there, and Kubernetes DevOps is also there, guys. What that we are trying to learn the DevOps perspective on it. So Kubernetes network is also there. Repeat, in Kubernetes network engineering course is also there. Kubernetes network, Kubernetes DevOps, Kubernetes administration. 4 different fields are there in Kubernetes. So we come under this segment. Okay. So for that reason, we just go ahead and install kubectl, which is sufficient for our practice. So Linux, Mac OS, and Windows 1 to 3. So here you need to select the Windows because I'm trying to set up on Windows only. So click on the Windows and this will come like this. So once you come here, just scroll down, just watch very carefully. So install Kubernetes binary with kernel. So this is a heading. Under this, you need to just click on this. Okay. So if you click on this, it will download a small software for you, that is kubectl. So we are trying to download the kubectl. So once it is downloaded, okay, go back to your downloads. Whatever you see that it is downloaded, your duty is to simply just right click, cut here. Please understand this step. This is one of the steps that you have to do very carefully. Right click, cut. Don't install this, guys. It will not install also. So cut this and go to your C drive, program files, same Kubernetes folder, and go to that Minikube and drop this over there. That is what you need to do. Are we clear on this step? Whatever you downloaded kubectl, just cut from there and put it in the Minikube folder. I already have it. You can see the first file is that only. That's the reason I'm not doing. Kubectl I already have. For other batches I done. Are we clear? Prithvi, Rahul, Rohini, Samir, Sanjay. So cut and paste it here. That is what you have to do. So once it is pasted, then you can open up the Git bash or CMD. It's up to you. So I prefer Git bash. So I'm opening up Git bash. Then let's fire the command. That is what I told you. You remember, guys? So I told you that once you install, then you need to fire a command. So time has come to fire a command. So what is that command? This is the command. We have to say minikube start. Minikube. See, if you want to check the version, we haven't started first of all. So let me try minikube version. Press enter. Okay, minikube is already installed, right? So it will show you this version. See, for Mayur it is showing 1.29. Yeah, for me it is 1.25. I'm using older one. It's fine. So this is a version, guys. The next thing is, now keep an eye on the Oracle VM box. Open up the Oracle VM box. And do you see any Kubernetes stuff here? You just observe before I do anything. This is CentOS, this is Windows, this is Ansible. This is also Ansible. This is Docker, this is Docker. Nothing about Kubernetes. Now let's see what happens. I'll say minikube start. This is the command you need to type, guys. This is the only command you need to fire if you want to start the Kubernetes. The same command you have to use to install, to set up the cluster also. See. So using VirtualBox driver based on existing profile, it detected my Oracle VM box. Okay, you can see VirtualBox minikube is VM is missing. We'll recreate. It will take almost 7 or 8 minutes to my knowledge now. And then you'll get your prompt back or cursor back. So once you get your cursor back, it means that installation is ready. So it is taking its own time. So we have to wait, guys. There is no other option. Let me see anything is happening in VM box. Nothing, no action yet. So we have to pray the God and tell it, please complete fast. It's the only thing we can do. Seventh, Miko, already I think you have the access. Huh? So, but why you cannot open the notes? What's the trouble? Yeah, I already showed you a couple of times you have the access. Maybe you are opening incorrectly. How do you access your notes? Showing no connection. Why connection is required first of all? Okay, do one thing. Okay. So once the class is done, just share your AnyDesk ID. I want to see first of all how you are accessing your classrooms. What is this happening? This is not working or what? We'll wait for more 2 or 3 minutes. So how many of you are done with AWS, guys? How many of you are done with AWS? Okay, Sravanti, you're also done. Okay, hold on. So just hold on a minute, guys. I have some opening with me for now. They sent me yesterday. I was so busy, I didn't focus on that subject. Okay. So this is the JD for it. Those are interested, just let me know. I'll keep it on the screen. This is for AWS senior engineer, it seems. A lot of you can it requires 5 to 7 years of experience. Whether genuine or fake, that is secondary. Clearing the inventory is important. Azure, I have one. This is new thing which I don't know. What is this also? Never heard this position, first of all. Azure SIEM Senator elections. If you have any of your brothers, sisters, please let me know. So what is happening with the Minikube? It's not even doing anything. Huh? Why? Divya, you have to say you have to trust. Accept it. So Rahul, are you interested? Senatel is one of. Okay, first of all, this position is in India. You are in US. Let's do not work. Okay, I will try. Yeah. Okay, it's eating away our class time, guys. I think what I have to do is I have to. It's not getting installed. For you, anybody tried at your end? Did it install on your machine? Do you see any changes at your site? Confirm, guys. Okay, Mayur, it's downloading. Yeah. So I think I need to remove the older version of Minikube, what I use for other classes, and then install the latest copy. It should work. So for Mayuri, it is working. Downloading VM boot image cluster. Okay, this is Mayuri's pick. She sent me. Yeah, it's working. So for me, it's not working because I have older version troubling. So I'll try to clean it up. Oh, let me share the notes, guys. So you guys have to don't do much adventure. Just to go ahead and install this. So once you see that some machine VM box comes here, you definitely will see some VM box comes up here. One more will come up here. And once you see that it's there, please go ahead and type this command. Only this command. Okay. I repeat, everybody. Once you see that you get your prompt back and you go and check your VM box, you'll have some Linux image created automatically, some Linux image. And once you see that it is there, just come back and just say stop. Okay, we'll continue from this point tomorrow. So I need to clean up my current Kubernetes, guys. I'm updating the class notes. Any questions from your side? Okay. So tomorrow evening I have little some work, guys. I'll be notifying you by 8:30. Okay. So by around 8 o'clock, I'll notify you if we have the class tomorrow. Please check your WhatsApp messages. And if you see that there is a cancel message from me, please don't join. Got it? Otherwise, we'll come back on Monday. So I just updated the class notes. Okay. Now I'm done for the day, guys. We'll stop it here because I need to clean up all these things. Old Kubernetes I need to eliminate.